Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Streamline English. I hope you are having a peaceful day. Find a soft, quiet place and let yourself settle. Breathe in slowly out. There is nothing to do tonight but listen. You don't need to understand every word. Let the story move softly, like brush strokes across a canvas. Imagine a man alone in a golden field under a wide, bright sky. He has set up his easel among the wheat, and he is painting, not calmly, but with his whole heart, fast and full of feeling, as if he is trying to capture the very light of the world before it fades. He pours everything he has into his work. He paints almost every day. He makes hundreds and hundreds of paintings, and almost no one wants them. In his entire lifetime, he sells barely anything. He lives in poverty. He is often lonely and unwell and sad. He dies young, believing in his heart that he was a failure, that his art meant nothing. And yet, today that same man is one of the most loved, most famous painters who has ever lived. His paintings now hang in the greatest museums in the world, and people travel across oceans just to stand in front of them and weep. How can a man die thinking he failed and become one of the most beloved artists in all of history? His name was Vincent van Gogh, and this is his story. If you enjoy learning English through gentle, true stories like this, please subscribe to Streamline English. It helps us keep these calm stories coming. Thank you, my friend. Our story begins in the year 1853, in a quiet village in the Netherlands. A baby boy was born into the family of a church minister. They named him Vincent. He grew up in a serious, religious home in the green and gentle Dutch countryside. As a boy, Vincent loved to wander outdoors, watching the birds, the fields, and the changing light. He was thoughtful, intense, and a little different from other children, sensitives, and deeply feeling. As a young man, Vincent struggled to find his place in the world. He tried one path, then another, then another. He worked for a company that bought and sold art. He tried being a teacher. He tried to follow his father into the church and worked for a time as a kind of preacher among poor coal miners in a hard, dark mining region. There, he was so moved by the suffering of the poor that he gave away his own clothes and food to help them. He cared, perhaps, too much. But none of these paths worked out. Vincent failed at job after job. He was often misunderstood. People found him strange, too passionate, too difficult. By his late 20s, he had no career, no money, and no clear future. He must have felt like a complete failure. And then, late, much later than most artists begin, Vincent finally discovered the one thing that would become his whole life. When Vincent was around 27 years old, he made a decision that changed everything. He decided to become an artist. Now, think about this. 27 might not sound old to you and me, but for an artist of his time, it was a very late start. Most painters had been training since they were children. Vincent was beginning from almost nothing. He had to teach himself, often from books and by copying other works. His early drawings were rough and clumsy. He was not an instant genius. He had to work and struggle and practice for years. But here is the beautiful thing. For the first time in his life, Vincent had found something he could pour his whole heart into. And pour it he did. He worked with a fierce, almost desperate energy. He drew and painted constantly. He studied light and color and shape. He made mistake after mistake and learned from each one. Slowly, painfully, he began to find his own way of seeing and his own way of painting. It is never too late to begin the thing you were meant to do. Vincent did not paint to become rich or famous. He painted because he had to. Because there was something inside him that needed to come out. In color and light, he painted the things most people ignored: ordinary working people, old shoes, plain bedrooms, simple fields, and he painted them with so much love and feeling that they became extraordinary. But Vincent was poor. He had no income. So how did he survive, year after year, to keep painting? The answer is one of the most touching parts of his whole story. Vincent had a younger brother named Theo, and the bond between these two brothers is one of the most beautiful in all of history. Theo believed in Vincent completely when almost no one else did. Theo worked selling art, and he had a steady income. And for years and years, Theo quietly supported Vincent, sending him money again and again so that his older brother could afford paint, canvas, food, and a roof over his head. Without Theo, there would be no Van Gogh paintings at all. Theo made them possible. But Theo gave Vincent something even more precious than money. He gave him belief. The two brothers wrote letters to each other constantly throughout their lives, hundreds and hundreds of letters. In them, Vincent poured out his thoughts, his dreams, his struggles, his ideas about art and life, and Theo encouraged him, comforted him, and believed in his genius, even when the whole world ignored it. Those letters still exist today, and through them, we know Vincent's heart more deeply than almost any other artist in history. We know his loneliness, his hope, his love of beauty, his pain. To have even one person who truly believes in you can be enough to keep a dream alive. With Theo's support behind him, Vincent traveled south to the warm, bright south of France, and it was there, under that brilliant southern sun, that his art truly exploded into life. When Vincent reached the south of France, something woke up inside him. The light there was so bright, so warm, so golden, that it transformed his painting completely. His colors became vivid and powerful, burning yellows, deep blues, fiery oranges. He painted fields of golden wheat under blazing skies. He painted bright sunflowers, glowing as if lit from within. He painted his own small bedroom, the trees, the rivers, the people of the town. He worked at an astonishing pace, sometimes finishing a painting in a single day, racing to capture the light and feeling before it slipped away. In just a few short years, this man who started so late produced an enormous number of works. Many hundreds of paintings plus countless drawings. It was as if he knew, somehow, that he did not have much time, and so he must pour everything out while he could. But Vincent's life in the South was not only golden, he was also suffering. Vincent struggled with his mental health, with periods of deep distress and illness that we now understand much better than people did in his time. Back then, there was little help and little understanding for such suffering. There were dark and painful episodes. At one of the lowest points of his life, in great distress, he harmed himself. For a time, he even chose to stay in a hospital, hoping to get well. And here is the truly remarkable thing. Even there, even in his suffering, Vincent kept painting. In fact, some of his most famous and beautiful works of all came from this difficult time. From the window of the hospital, looking out at the night, he painted a sky unlike any other. One night, Vincent looked up at the dark sky And he painted what he saw, but not as a camera would see it. He painted what he felt. He filled the sky with great, swirling currents, like rivers of wind and light. He made the stars huge and glowing, surrounded by rings of brightness. The whole night seemed to move and breathe and sing. It was not a copy of the sky. It was the sky as it felt to a man who saw beauty and feeling in everything. We call this painting the Starry Night, and it has become one of the most famous and beloved paintings in the entire world. Think of that. In one of the hardest, loneliest, most painful periods of his life, Vincent created something of breathtaking, timeless beauty. A gift of wonder that millions of people would one day treasure. But Vincent did not know any of this. He could not see the future. All he could see was his present, that he was poor, that he was unwell, that he was alone, and that almost no one wanted his paintings. In his entire lifetime, it is said that he sold only one single painting, just one. He had given his whole soul to his art. And the world, while he lived, gave him almost nothing back. And so, my friend, I must tell you gently, Vincent's life ended too soon, worn down by years of poverty, loneliness, and illness. He died when he was just 37 years old, believing that his life's work had been a failure. His devoted brother Theo, heartbroken, died only a short time later. It is a sad ending, but it is not the end of the story, because everything was about to change. Too late for Vincent to see it, but not too late for his light to reach the world. After Vincent died, his paintings did not die with him. Theo's wife, who had loved both brothers, refused to let Vincent be forgotten. She gathered his paintings and his beautiful letters, and she worked tirelessly to share them with the world. And slowly, people began to see what Vincent had seen all along. They looked at his swirling skies, his glowing sunflowers, his fields of light, and they were amazed. Year by year, his fame grew. The painter that no one wanted became the painter that everyone loved. Today, Vincent van Gogh is one of the most celebrated artists in human history. His paintings are treasured beyond price. Millions of people all around the world find comfort, beauty, and deep feeling in his work. He never knew. He died thinking he had failed, and that is the heartbreaking and also the deeply important lesson of his life. It tells us that the value of what we create and what we give is not always measured by the applause we receive while we are doing it. Vincent's work was already beautiful, already a gift, already a masterpiece. Even when no one was clapping, even when no one was buying, the world's blindness did not make his art any less precious. It only meant the world had not yet learned to see. The worth of what you do is not decided by how many people notice it today. Real beauty is real, even in an empty room. So tonight, before you rest, let me leave you with a gentle thought. Sometimes, when you are working hard at something, like learning a language, you may feel that no one notices. No one is clapping. No one is telling you how well you are doing. You practice quietly, alone, and you may wonder if any of it matters. But remember Vincent, painting his starry skies in a quiet room with no audience at all. The beauty he created was real, even when no one saw it. And the progress you are making, right now, is real too, even when no one is watching, even when you cannot yet see how far it will reach. You are creating something quietly valuable, a new way to understand the world, a new way to connect with other people. That is its own kind of masterpiece. So keep painting your own canvas, my friend. One word at a time, it matters. You matter, even in the quiet, even tonight. If this story touched your heart, please give it a like and subscribe to Streamline English. It truly helps us grow. And tell me in the comments, have you ever loved doing something, even when no one else noticed? Sleep well, be gentle with yourself, and have a peaceful day, my friend.